Sophie Cunningham's response to all this, in terms of her tweets, like, if you guys didn't see Sophie Cunningham's retweets, Sophie Cunningham obviously responded with the shrug Instagram post, but has responded to the petition by just retweeting a freaking post about her jerseys being sold out. That is a response. That is quote tweeting the petition. Like, that is the best way of going about it.
They started a petition to ban Sophie Cunningham like she's some kind of Marvel villain. And her response? Oh, it wasn't an apology, it was a highlight reel with extra sauce. If you thought she'd cry, think again. Sophie pulled up with receipts, attitude, and a mic drop so loud it echoed across the entire WNBA. This wasn't damage control, this was diva-level domination. She didn't back down. She doubled down. Buckle up, because Sophie just turned cancel culture into comedy gold. And you won't believe how.
I need to talk about this right here. So yesterday's game was obviously funny. Yesterday's game was obviously crazy. But have you guys not seen the petition? The petition, lads. So if you guys didn't see, obviously, there is the Dallas Wings fan page. Take the All-Star game out of Indiana. I'm serious. This is about player safety. Dude, don't worry. Neither JC or Marina's making the All-Star team. Players will be safe. The only player on the Dallas Wings that's going to make the All-Star team is Paige.
She saw the petition, laughed mid-lunge, and retweeted it like it was fan mail. Because Sophie Cunningham isn't just unbothered, she's thriving off the drama like it's her pregame protein shake. They tried to paint her as the villain in some overhyped basketball soap opera, and she leaned all the way in with the kind of energy that says, "You rang? This isn't a redemption arc, it's full-blown retaliation with glitter."
All-Star break in Indiana, and I'm like, man, Dejanay Carrington needs to work her way back into the starting lineup for the worst team in the WNBA before she even thinks about being an All-Star this year. But yeah, it is hilarious. It is absolutely.
Indy, that tweet? Oh, she didn't just retweet it, she blessed it. Like a royal decree straight from the Queen of Pet Thailand. It was the digital equivalent of cracking her knuckles and saying, "Let's dance." Because if you thought Sophie Cunningham was going to shrink under the weight of public outrage, you must be new here. Sophie doesn't fold. She retaliates with tempo, with fire, and with a perfectly placed side eye that says, "I'm built for this."
Now everybody knows who Sophie Cunningham is. Everybody wants a piece of Sophie Cunningham. Her jersey is the #1 selling jersey in the WNBA. Sold out. Now, why is that significant? I'll tell you. Because her jersey surpassed the all-time woman, Caitlin Clark. The most popular woman ever in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, got her jersey surpassed by Sophie Cunningham. Why? Because Sophie Cunningham stood up for Caitlin.
The petition itself? A masterpiece of pearl-clutching hysteria. Fans screeching for bans like it's some dystopian version of American Idol, except instead of singing, you get canceled for existing too confidently. But here's the truth. Sophie Cunningham isn't dirty, she's reactive. There's a difference between chaos and consequence, and people keep forgetting that. When Sophie gets physical, it's almost always because someone else got messy first. She's not throwing the first punch, she's just returning the favor with interest and a little extra spice.
So I'm not the only one that feels this way. I'm just saying. Sophie Cunningham stood on business. So all these damn petitions and all these little stupid things they're trying to do, these little freaking fines, we don't care about none of that. Now, just like Rachel said, your boy John Liquidator, I'm not condoning any violence whatsoever. But what I can tell you is that Sophie Cunningham stood on business and did the human thing to do.
If you mess with her teammates, Sophie's going full medieval. You so much as breathe on her squad the wrong way, and she's coming at you like a human freight train powered by loyalty and fury. This isn't about fouls, it's about family. The league can debate rules all day, but when someone goes at her girls, Sophie's not asking questions, she's making statements. And just like that, Sophie Cunningham has become the WNBA's most unlikely fan favorite. Not for the fever-dream crowd clinging to Caitlin Clark like she's a one-woman revolution, but for everyone else. Sophie's the anti-hero we didn't know we needed, with the aggression of a linebacker, the Twitter finesse of a meme lord, and the emotional range of a woman who's just had enough. It's a Cinderella story, except this Cinderella wears sneakers, body checks defenders, and calls out hypocrisy mid-game. They wanted her silenced. Instead, she became a headline machine with a highlight reel fueled by vengeance. And make no mistake, she didn't lash out from bitterness. She snapped because she's watched, for months, as her teammate Caitlin got fed to the wolves. Every move overanalyzed. Every bump turned into a conspiracy.
Everybody knows who Sophie Cunningham is. Everybody wants a piece of Sophie Cunningham. Her jersey is the number one selling jersey in the WNBA. Sold out. Now, why is that significant? I'll tell you. Because her jersey surpassed the all-time woman, Caitlin Clark. The most popular woman ever in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, got her jersey surpassed by Sophie Cunningham. Why? Because Sophie Cunningham stood up for Caitlin Clark.
The double standards were practically dripping from the arena lights. When Fever players get physical, it's passion. It's grit. That's just basketball. But when Sophie so much as raises an eyebrow or clears space with a shoulder, suddenly, it's a felony. A crisis, a petition-worthy offense. Someone explain how Sheldon lowering her shoulder into Sophie was just competitive spirit, but Sophie's response looked like a war crime on the timeline. Is it selective vision or just bad acting? Let's talk about Sheldon for a second. That wasn't a little contact. She came in like she was trying to bulldoze a brick wall with her torso. That shoulder wasn't lowered, it was weaponized. And Sophie, she ate the hit, blinked once, and responded the way any self-respecting enforcer would, with an emotional sledgehammer. Because if you're going to test her balance, don't cry foul when she resets the scale. That's not aggression, it's calibration. But here's the kicker. Sophie never wanted to be the league's rebel sweetheart. She just wanted consistency. A little fairness. Maybe a rulebook that applies to everyone, not one that gets rewritten nightly based on jersey color and Twitter trends. But once she realized the bullies weren't going away, she decided to swing back. And not just on the...
Guess whose jersey sold out today? The one and only Sophie Cunningham, aka the Enforcer and Caitlin Clark's bodyguard. Sophie Cunningham defended the face of basketball, and America was in love. I've honestly never seen so many people agree on one thing on Twitter, and they did last night. And also realizing that you wouldn't want to fight Sophie Cunningham after seeing this headline.
Off the court, Sophie Cunningham is roasting people with the finesse of a stand-up comic on a vengeance tour. That retweet just the beginning. Now, her social media feed is a curated exhibit of clapbacks and shade. A mood board for anyone who's ever been unfairly labeled the villain. Just for setting boundaries aggressively. She's not just tweeting, she's painting with sarcasm. Eye roll emojis? She's got a gallery. Picasso with pixels. And guess what? It's working. The fans have flipped the script. Suddenly, people are rocking her jersey, stitching her highlights into TikToks, and defending her like she's the last hope for basketball integrity. She's not just a player anymore, she's a vibe. The kind of athlete who doesn't need a PR team to manage backlash, because she is the backlash. She's dragging double standards into the spotlight and dunking on them emotionally with receipts. Meanwhile, the haters spiraling. They don't know what to do with a woman who refuses to wilt. The louder they boo, the louder her cheers get. Every clip of her retaliation gets reposted like it's a trailer for Atomic Blonde 2. Every game now feels like a showdown between those rooting for justice and the ones still clutching their pearls because someone dared to play defense with passion.
I am sorry, bro. That was honorable. what she had done for Caitlyn, bro. What did Rachel Dementa say? What did Rachel say about this?
If the refs are not going to do their job, the players are going to have to be the enforcers themselves. This game was chippy from the beginning, and the refs did not do their job. JC Sheldon.
Sophie's not out here throwing elbows for fun. She's defending her people. When Caitlin Clark took the hits, who spoke up, who stepped in Sophie? She saw the whispers, the cheap shots, the subtle fouls no one wanted to call, and said, "Not on my watch." Yeah, maybe it got physical. Maybe she sent a message. But that message was loud and clear. You can push us. But we push back harder. And somehow, in the middle of all this chaos, Sophie Cunningham became the WNBA's new symbol of unapologetic power. Not because she asked for it, because she earned it. On the court. I in the chaos. With every shoulder check and snarky tweet. She didn't start the fire, but she damn sure learned how to cook with it. What the haters don't realize is, you can't cancel someone who's already cashed in on their villain arc. Sophie leaned in. She made it fashionable. And now the very people who wanted her gone have to watch her rise. Not just as a player, but as a phenomenon. So go ahead. Pull up the petition. Watch the signatures roll in like digital tears. Because the more they protest, the more power she gathers. She's not just surviving the noise, she's conducting the orchestra. And if you think this is the end, think again. Sophie's just getting started.